Nurses at UCSD say they're already overwhelmed while they're worried decisions by hospital leaders could make things worse. A vaccine superstation at Petco Park back open after the recent storms, how the rollout's going today, and how to make sure that you know when you can make an appointment. And what restaurants and doctors are saying about the move to lift the stay-at-home order. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
And welcome this midday. Great to have you with us. I'm Jim Patton. I'm joined remotely by my co-anchor Virginia Cha and 10 News meteorologist Megan Perry. Going to hear from both of you very shortly. Well, nurses at UC San Diego say they desperately need help keeping up with the surge in COVID-19 cases at their hospital. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell lays out their concerns.
UCSD nurses held a news conference on their Hillcrest campus to raise concerns about not having enough staff to take care of their patients, especially in the ICU.
We are tired. We are burnt out. I don't know how we could look after more extremely sick patients effectively.
UCSD nurses gathered to show their solidarity, hoping to send a message to management, letting them know they need help.
It's very busy. We don't have time to do our jobs. We're very stressed out. You know, it's emotionally taxing because our patients are dying a lot of times, especially in the COVID ICUs.
Right now, UCSD is following the state rules for the nurse-to-patient ratio, one nurse taking care of two patients. But up north, that's not the case. Both UCLA and UCI hospitals have applied for a waiver to operate below that. Something these nurses say is unacceptable, especially as they're struggling to stay afloat during this pandemic.
We call on the state and the University of California to maintain appropriate safety standards and not implement waivers for staffing requirements.
UC San Diego says they have not requested a waiver, but nurses that work for the health system worry that may change.
We are putting tremendous pressure on them not to apply for this waiver.
We did reach out to UC San Diego regarding these concerns, and we were told they would be sending a statement to us. In the meantime, nurses say they would like elective surgeries that can be delayed to be postponed, so that would free up resources and staff. Reporting from Hillcrest, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News. Well, the vaccination superstation at Petco Park is back open today after bad weather forced it to close for 2 days. They have rescheduled thousands of appointments, with Monday's appointments being seen today. As ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie shows us, that meant long lines outside Petco this morning.
I thought it wouldn't have been this long. Oh well.
The traffic getting to the super vaccination site this morning at Petco was bad. Some people anticipated it, arriving to wait in line little after 5 o'clock this morning. More than 4,000 appointments rescheduled from the days the site had to close because of windy storms and stay closed while repairs were made. Something not looking likely to cause problems there today.
Looks like a nice day here today.
But the long line of cars that stretched for several downtown blocks was frustrating for some who came here earlier in the week only to be turned away once before. The Monday appointments were rescheduled to today. The Tuesday appointments rescheduled to Saturday. UC San Diego health officials say people were notified through their MyChart portal accounts, which keep track of your information. It notifies people about issues and schedules the second dose. There were some successes, though.
Our first try on the weekend, we thought they were going to change it to 65 because that was what was in the news. So then we went online and made an appointment, and the next day they announced 65 and over. So we kind of, in anticipation of the change is what we did.
The state is also using a new alert system called MyTurn. The site is myturn.ca.gov. You put in your information, and if you're eligible for the vaccine, the state says you're supposed to be able to make an appointment. If you're not eligible, you can sign up for an email or text alert when it is your turn. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Now, we have heard from several viewers who say it has been a frustrating experience trying to make appointments through that My Turn site. Now, we reached out to the State Department of Public Health. They told us they aren't aware of any problems with the site, but we have asked for more information and we're waiting to hear back. And of course, we will let you know. Meanwhile, this morning, truckloads of PPE arriving. Let's see. First, let's talk about this. The stormy weather has put things on hold for certain businesses, but many are gearing up to reopen to customers after the stay-at-home order was just lifted. We talked to the GM of Novo Brazil Brewing, who says his business is working to ramp things up.
It's a flame that turned back on inside of us,
They're still waiting to get back on their feet financially before hiring more people. Meanwhile, we talked to a local infectious disease expert who voiced concerns that the order may have been lifted too soon.
So our concern is that we will see the same sort of thing, an additional wave with things like the spring break holiday that are coming up.
However, Dr. Pride did say he's cautiously optimistic that the vaccine rollout will help lessen the most critical effects of this pandemic. He says people, though, should still be doing their part by wearing masks and social distancing. Now let's get to this story. This morning, truckloads of PPE arriving in the South Bay for distribution. This was the scene in National City this morning at an event organized by Last Mile San Diego. They are working to get tens of thousands of bottles of hand sanitizer and thousands of thermometers to groups ranging from schools to small businesses. Some of the PPE gathered also heading across the border to help groups in Mexico. Last Mile San Diego recently sent PPE to the Red Cross in Tijuana. Jim?
Virginia, the U.S. government is urging Americans not to travel abroad after new restrictions went into effect. They require all passengers traveling to the U.S. by air to present negative COVID-19 tests taken within 3 calendar days of departure or proof of recovery from the virus within the last 90 days. Mexico responding by setting up new testing sites at airports and hotels in select parts of the country. Those tests will cost between $20 and $72. Amid all of this, the TSA reporting new numbers showing air travel in the U.S. is seeing a 6-month low. Fewer than 500,000 passengers were screened at American airports yesterday, the lowest total since July. In Washington, we're still waiting for the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump to get underway. But as ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reports, the outcome is already starting to come into focus.
3 weeks ago, a violent mob of pro-Trump supporters stormed the Capitol in an attack that left 5 people dead. And now, support in the Senate to hold former President Trump accountable for the insurrection appears to be fading. 45 GOP senators voted to dismiss Trump's second impeachment trial as unconstitutional because he's no longer in office.
That this is not a trial of the president, but of a private citizen.
Only 5 Republicans voting with Democrats to move forward with the trial. 17 Republicans would need to join all Democrats to vote to convict. And while a conviction wouldn't remove Trump from office, it could lead to a second vote, barring him from holding federal office in the future.
What Trump did was the most despicable thing any president has ever done. I believe he should be convicted.
Both sides now have 2 weeks to prepare their cases before the trial starts the week of February 8th. Meantime, the investigation into the breach of the Capitol continues. The FBI says it's identified more than 400 suspects and made 135 arrests. And Justice Department officials said on a conference call Tuesday they're building towards possible charges of sedition for some of the rioters.
We are closely looking at evidence related to the sedition charges. The results will bear fruit very soon.
And during closed testimony, the acting chief of the Capitol Police apologized to lawmakers for not being more prepared for the January 6th attack, saying in remarks obtained by ABC News, "We knew there was a strong potential for violence and that Congress was the target."
And CNN is reporting Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene reportedly recorded a video before she was elected saying House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason and that treason is an executable offense. In a statement on Twitter, Greene did not apologize for the comments and said that other people often run her page and that some of the posts don't reflect her views. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.